A former Minister of Finance, Dr. Mohammed Amin Adam, has attributed Ghana's current exchange rate stability to the substantial international reserves led by the Akufo-Addo administration, and it goes on and on and on. My brother, we are talking about exchange rate stability today? Shocking! Why? You took over at a time when the dollar rate was 3.4 to 1. 3.4 cedis to $1. Today the rate is 16 cedis to $1. And you're telling us about exchange rate stability. As if words don't mean anything. Exchange rate stability from 3.4 to $1 to 16 to $1. And we are talking about exchange rate stability. It's just completely baffling. Look, we've come to the point where, according to Mr. Ken Ofori-Atta before he exited office, we needed 128% of total national revenue for 3 line items: debt servicing, debt repayment, and public sector emoluments. That's a bankrupt state. So where is the resurgence in the economy? This is the state of the economy, and this state of the economy can only be referred to as bankrupt. You understand? Now, my brother here, the Honorable MP, has spoken about the cocoa industry. Today, as we sit here, cocoa production has declined by about 60%. About 60%. How can anybody describe this economy as robust when at the same time we claim that cocoa is the mainstay of the national economy? 60% of production has been lost. So how can you make this claim? Now, for ordinary Ghanaians, for Ghanaians, and normal Ghanaians and so on, if they are to judge the state of the economy and they use their own lives, to judge the state of the economy, what conclusion can they come to? Every price of every item has escalated, in some cases by as much as 1,000%. And then you tell us about the state of the economy and so on. You took over when a ball of kenkey was 50 pesos.
Hey.
Yes, 50 pesos. You left office when the same ball of kenkey was 5 cedis. And you're telling us about a resilient economy that we left. What resilient national economy? My brother, check. Most of our state enterprises are heavily indebted. Heavily indebted. Most of the state enterprises. So heavily indebted. In one instance, if all of its assets were sold, it could still not pay for the debt. Is this the health of the economy that we should be proud of? And so on. I don't understand what is happening. You mentioned Galamsey much earlier. Look at the devastation that Galamsey has caused. Unbelievable devastation. Some blame Galamsey for the decline in cocoa production, which is around 60%. Okay. But beyond that, medical reports that we are getting, the children who are being born without limbs, children who are being born blind, and so on, as a result of pollution by Galamsey. You handled this economy for 8 long years and ended up with this level of devastation. We can't even get water to drink now. In the Western region, many water plants have been shut down because there's nothing that the water authorities can do in order to continue to provide drinkable, potable water for the population. This is the state of the nation that you left. You understand? The state of the nation which you left had a power sector indebtedness of $2.5 billion. And the argument that they put up is that, when we came, the debt level was still 2.5, and we are living at 2.5. That's your achievement. And that if we had not stayed in power for 8 years, the debt level would have exceeded 2.5. But what a thing to say. You understand? And then, surprisingly, today, the current government, which is less than 2 months in office, is being blamed for doomsday. Incredible. I can't believe it. You remember that before the government came into power, we were experiencing these same power outages. I want any Ghanaian to tell me that before this government came into power, we were not experiencing power outages. We were definitely experiencing power outages. In fact, the independent power producers were threatening to shut their plants and so on. Is this the economy we should be proud about? What is this? And of course, when the new government came, you had Mr. Abu Jinapor, the current Minister of Energy, and his analysis of the situation. John Jinapor. Yeah, John Jinapor. And so on. We heard it. So please, save us all this noise. Save us all this noise. It is time for all of us as Ghanaian people to get our wheels to the shoulder, our shoulders to the wheel, not the other way around, our shoulders to the wheel, and try and find a way out of this crisis. We are boasting about an inflation rate of 23%. My goodness, we shouldn't go there. Until recently, the inflation rate was hovering around 50-something%. The rate of inflation was hovering around 50-something%.
In 2022.
Yes, under this same administration. Okay? I listened to the National Economic Dialogue. I can't quite remember the name of this gentleman, but there's Dr. something who spoke after Dr. Yamson's presentation.
Oh, Dr. Amoa.
Dr. Amoa, yes. Thank you very much.
Yes, it's called Dr. Amoa.
And he made a very interesting point. That look, of all the loans and grants we are getting from the IMF and so on, that quantity of money we are getting is not even sufficient to pay for the power sector subsidy. Yeah. It's not sufficient to pay for the power sector subsidy alone. So we have to rethink the economy and stop this grand, standing and these press conferences which mean absolutely nothing. You understand? Listen, Ghana today is the largest producer of gold in Africa. The largest producer of gold in Africa. Ghana today is the 5th largest producer of gold in the world. What have we got to show for it? What have we got to show for it? You understand? Botswana took a very sensible step. Botswana's main export was diamonds. And like us, they were not benefiting substantially from the export of diamonds and so on. So what did they do? The government decided to set up a diamond marketing mechanism within Botswana. So Botswana's diamonds were not traded outside Botswana. That gave the Botswana economy a big lift within a very short time. What happens to our gold? What happens to the gold that we mine? Incredible. You understand? Now, until recently, until about a year ago, 2 years ago, Niger was rated as the 3rd worst economy in the world, not in Africa, in the world. 3rd worst economy in the world. In less than 2 years, Niger now has gained the status of the fastest growing economy in the world. Look at what is happening in Burkina Faso. Look at the extent to which their GDP has grown. Their GDP has grown by more than $2 billion per annum. You understand? And then our leaders are sitting here in ECOWAS and so on, complaining about what is happening in those countries and threatening to go and to overthrow those countries when those countries are doing much better than us under their current dispensation. I think it's time for us to wake up. You understand?